In 2011, MVP Derrick Rose was like no player we've seen before. A 6'3" point guard with explosive athleticism and the unique ability to slow down time and make ridiculous acrobatic layups around the basket. Becoming the youngest MVP ever in only his third NBA season at 22 years old. Nobody at the time thought we could have another player like Derrick Rose until a player who was once unranked in high school turned into a superstar and one of the league's best players in his third NBA season. Oh yeah. He's also only 22 years old and is a 6'3" point guard too. That player is a human highlight reel known as Ja Morant. In today's video, I'm going to explain why Ja Morant is better than 2011 MVP Derrick Rose with a head-on-head comparison throughout their first 3 years in the league. The winner will be determined by the numbers they put up, their team record, playoff performances, and awards won, and how they improved year by year. Before we dive into the video, I'm Hoops Expert and welcome to my channel. If you could subscribe, leave a like and comment, that would mean the world to me. Thank you, and let's get started. Year 1. We're first going to start off with a comparison of both their rookie seasons and see who the better player was in their respective first year. Derrick Rose was selected as the number 1 overall pick in the 2008 NBA draft to the Chicago Bulls. The prior 2007 season, the Chicago Bulls posted a measly 33-49 record, finishing the season ranked 11th in the Eastern Conference. The Chicago Bull native made an immediate impact in his rookie season, lifting the Bulls to a record of 41-41 and making the playoffs as a 7th ranked team in the Eastern Conference. Derrick Rose finished off the season with averages of 16.8 points per game, 3.9 rebounds per game, and 6.3 assists per game, while shooting 47% from the field and 22% from 3, which led him to win the Rookie of the Year award. Derrick Rose's first playoff game was the stuff of legends, scoring 36 points, 4 rebounds, and 11 assists while beating the second-ranked Boston Celtics, who literally won the championship the prior season. Derrick Rose would take the Chicago Bulls to a Game 7 thriller, but eventually lost in Game 7. He finished the series with averages of 19.7 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game, and 6.4 assists per game. The future looked bright for Derrick Rose and the Chicago Bulls. Ja Morant was drafted with the 2nd overall pick in the 2019 NBA draft to the Memphis Grizzlies. The prior 2018 season, the Grizzlies had a record of 33-49, which ranked them the 12th seed in the Western Conference. Coincidentally, the same exact record as the Bulls the year prior to drafting Rose. Ja Morant and the Grizzlies finished with a record of 34-39 while being ranked 9th in the conference and missing the playoffs by 1 game. Ja Morant posted averages of 17.8 points per game, 3.9 rebounds per game, and 7.3 assists per game, while shooting 47% from the field and 33% from 3, which won him Rookie of the Year as well. Comparing their rookie seasons, Ja Morant had better numbers while being more efficient from the field, but he only won 1 more game to the prior season. Ja Morant did not make a significant impact to his team's success, while Derrick Rose had a bit worse numbers and was less efficient, but he carried the Bulls to the playoffs and took the defending champs, the Boston Celtics, to 7-game series in the first round. For a head-to-head rookie season comparison, I'll have to give it to Derrick Rose due to the fact that he was able to bring the Bulls to the playoffs while Ja Morant didn't. This now gives Derrick Rose a 1-2 lead on Ja Morant. Year 2. Moving on to year 2 is where things get interesting, starting off with the Windy City Assassin again. Derrick Rose, in his sophomore season in 2009 and 2010, led the Chicago Bulls to a 41-41 record, the exact same record in his rookie season, and finished 8th in the Eastern Conference. Derrick Rose finished the season averaging 20.8 points per game, 3.8 rebounds per game, and 6 assists per game, with shooting averages of 48% from the field and 26% from 3. He had a 4 points per game increase in scoring compared to his rookie season, with similar rebounds and assists per game stats, with a slightly better 3-point percentage. He's also named an All-Star. Now coming into the postseason, Derrick Rose and the Chicago Bulls were up against the number 1 seed, the Cleveland Cavaliers, facing off against a young and hungry LeBron James. Derrick Rose and the Bulls were in for a tough battle, and indeed it was. The Chicago Bulls lost the first round series 4-1. Derrick Rose, in his 2nd playoff series ever, posted numbers of 26.8 points per game, 3.4 rebounds per game, and 7.2 assists per game. Now, let's see how Ja Morant compares with his second season. Ja Morant in his sophomore season in 2020 and 2021 really stepped it up and led the Memphis Grizzlies to a record of 38-34 and finished 9th in the Western Conference, but managed to make the playoffs due to the play-in tournament. Ja Morant posted numbers of 19.1 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, 7.4 assists per game. He had shooting splits of 44% from the field and 30% from 3. Ja Morant had a 1.3 points per game increase and similar rebound and assists per game stats. His shooting splits fell off by a sliver, but it was nothing drastic. Ja Morant and the Grizzlies were up against the number 1 seeded team in the West, the Utah Jazz, facing off against one of the best guards and centers in Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. Ja Morant lost the series 4-1, but had an awesome playoff series. He even scored 47 points in his second career playoff game. Ja Morant put up averages of 30.2 per game, 4.8 rebounds per game, and 8.2 assists per game, which are insane for a playoff debut. For a head-to-head comparison of Derrick Rose and Ja Morant's sophomore season, Rose only scored 1.7 more points per game, while Ja had similar rebound stats but managed to score 1.4 more assists per game, which gives him the better numbers for the season. Ja Morant shot a fraction worse from the field than Derrick Rose, with his 44% compared to Rose's 48%, but Ja Morant was a better 3-point shooter by 4%. Derrick Rose was an all-star while Morant wasn't, but all-star selections are very controversial as many players averaging far better numbers don't make the team. Hence Bradley Beal, where he averaged 29.1 points per game and didn't make the team in the 1920 season. Also, the teams performed very similarly as they both ended up as the 8th seeds, but Ja Morant had a more dominant playoff debut performance compared to Rose's second playoff series. Both teams ended up losing the first round series 4-1 against their respective number 1 seeds. Derrick Rose and Ja Morant's sophomore seasons are very similar in both their numbers and team performance, but I have to give it to Ja Morant as he showed out more in the playoffs. Ja Morant is now tied 1-1 with Derrick Rose after their first 2 seasons in the league. Year 3. Derrick Rose had a stellar third season in 2010 and 2011, a season which made him become immortal as he won the MVP, in which he became the youngest MVP winner ever at only 22 years old. Derrick Rose led the Chicago Bulls to a 62-20 season, which was the best record in the entire league. That gave the Chicago Bulls the first seed in the Eastern Conference. Derrick Rose won the MVP averaging numbers of 25 points per game, 4.1 rebounds per game, and 7.7 assists per game. He shot 44% from the field and stepped it up with a 33% 3-point split. He upped his scoring numbers by 4.2 points per game and 1.7 assists per game, with better shooting numbers compared to his sophomore season. He was also an all-star starter that season. Coming into the playoffs, the Bulls and Derrick Rose had high expectations. The first round had the Bulls up against a young Paul George and the Indiana Pacers. Rose and the Bulls took care of business, beating the Pacers 4-1. In those series, Rose averaged 27.6 points per game, 4.6 rebounds per game, and 6.2 assists per game. Now moving on to the second round of the NBA playoffs, Derrick Rose was up against his next challenge, the Atlanta Hawks, which were the 5th seed. Once again, Derrick Rose took care of business and sent the Atlanta Hawks flying away in 6 games, winning the series 4-2. Derrick Rose averaged 29.8 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game, and 9.8 assists per game in the series. The hype was real for Derrick Rose and the Bulls, but now they were up against a real challenge, the Miami Heat, with the big 3 of prime LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. The Bulls won the first game by 21 points, but ending up losing the next 4 games, with games 2 and 3 by double digits. The Miami Heat were too much for the MVP, and he struggled in the series where he averaged 23.4 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, and 6 assists per game, but he shot terribly from the field with 35% and an atrocious 23% from 3. This would be a devastating end to Derrick Rose's best season ever. Since this video was made during the 2021-2022 season, I'm going to be using Ja Morant's stats as of March 9th, 2022, which leaves Ja Morant and the Grizzlies only 15 games to make their mark for the season. So far, Ja and the Grizzlies have a record of 45-22 and are second in a tough Western Conference. I project the Grizzlies to finish off the season in the mid-50s for wins, but you can always check back later until the end of the season to see the final record and stats. As of March 9, 2022, Ja Morant is averaging 27.5 points per game, 5.8 rebounds per game, and 6.7 assists per game, with a notable 1.2 steals per game. He's shooting pretty efficiently this season, with splits of 49% from the field and 34% from 3. And he's improved a lot this season by scoring 8.4 more points per game and 1.8 more rebounds per game, while having career highs in shooting percentages from the field and 3. Ja Morant also started in the All-Star game as well, and he's currently ranked 5th in the MVP rankings as of the March 4th MVP rankings update. I doubt Derrick Rose's MVP season would win him MVP this year, since Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, and Giannis are all having historic seasons. It's impossible to say what Ja Morant and the Grizzlies will do this postseason. They could literally either lose in the first round or win the championship, and that's why I won't use playoff predictions for this comparison. Comparing the third NBA seasons, Ja Morant is averaging better numbers this season by scoring 2.5 more points per game, 1.7 more rebounds per game, but dishing out 1 less assists per game. He's also shooting better than Derrick Rose from both the field and 3. I'll have to give the numbers to Ja Morant, but Derrick Rose and the Bulls, however, did have a better team record with 62 wins, and even if the Grizzlies win the remaining 15 games straight, that can only give them a 60-win season, which is less than Derrick Rose's and the Bulls in 2010 and 11. Which is why I'll give Derrick Rose the team performance. With it being so close and everything mentioned, it can either be Derrick Rose or Ja Morant, but I have to go for Ja Morant due to his better numbers and potentially very similar team record. Many people will say that MVP matters, but a lot of people have said that LeBron should have won it that year, but didn't because he's already won it previously and they needed to change it up. But honestly, that can be a whole video in itself. But if you think differently, I'd love to hear your opinions in the comment. This was a very close and tough comparison to make, but Ja Morant takes a 2-1 lead over Derrick Rose throughout their first 3 seasons in the league. But regardless of comparisons, young Derrick Rose was a superstar, and so is Ja Morant right now. And we have to appreciate both of their greatness, regardless of who we think is better. I know we both are very eager to see what Ja Morant accomplishes throughout his career. Anyways, that's the end of this video, and thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Deuces.